As we'll come back a wee bit early, brothers, I'd like to now invite Brother John Murphy as the Knights of St. Columba Supreme Knight to come and give an address to our Supreme Council for his first time. Thank you, John.
Worthy Supreme, my Lord Bishop, Brother Knights and Reverend Fathers. I just want first like to say, on behalf of Brother PJ and myself, I'd like to thank the Supreme Knight for his kind invitation here today. And both PJ and I have thoroughly enjoyed the event so far, and I've even got a couple of ideas. Loath as I am to admit that I've got ideas here, but since I only set out my manifesto a short time ago, and you've given me food for thought, and certainly I greatly appreciate it. Just by way of introduction, Brother PJ and I are both from County Meath in Ireland. PJ is from Navan and I'm from Kells, about 10 miles apart. And the Kells, interestingly enough, from your point of view, would have had a monastery for St. Columkill. And indeed our parish is called St. Columkills. And of course, the Romans got at it, as they usually got at everything else, Latin really, and St. Columkill became St. Columba. So that's how you ended up here. And Kells is very famous, for one thing, a book. And it really should be called the Book of Iona. But in an act of cultural appropriation, an early one, we managed to get it called the Book of Kells. And that's where the story, Iona sort of gets lost in the background of that one. So the other thing I'd like to say is, from a personal point of view, I've only been in Edinburgh once before. In 2017, the local Register of Assassins had their 400th anniversary, and they had sort of a land registry conference, or a land conference. Assassins, beg your pardon. It's something along that line anyway. The only reason I knew about it before that is there's a series of books by Diana Gabaldon, and it was made into a series, and it's part of it is the Register of Assassins was mentioned. So that's my background, and as I said, both Brother PJ and I were elected this same week, and we're delighted that our first outing really is here. Be among friends, people with like-minded people who are going in the same direction for the Catholic Church. So, where am I now? Our two orders, the Knights of Columba and Columbanus, have really similar core principles. You call it faith, family and fraternity, and largely our objects and principles are along the same lines. You'd be surprised if they weren't, since we're really, I don't know whether we're sister organisations or brother organisations, I'm not quite sure how we are, but we've some sort of relationship anyway. So we are both, in addition, we're both loyal to the Holy See, the hierarchy and the clergy, and in all things pertaining to faith. And I think that's an important aspect of both orders, especially at the modern time where there's suspicion and concern in around, as we already mentioned, the Synod on Synodality, that we and ye, I think, as orders, are firmly on the side of the Holy See and the hierarchy and the clergy. You also emphasise all your 100 odd years, the same as us, Catholic social teaching, which since Leo XIII, I think, and Pius X has been developed to a great extent, even up to there just before the Synod, when Laudate Deum was published. So we're both of us in that same area, because both of us had an aspect of dealing with social issues from our foundation. And then your other area that we're similar is that at stress we put on helping young people develop in their faith. So largely we're aligned, and I think it's coming here with like-minded people is certainly inspirational and gives strength. We're folks facing similar challenges and problems, declining membership, aging membership, difficulty attracting new members, often just a general apathy, and apathy is not strong enough a word, the antagonism of the culture and society around us to what we stand for. So, as I said, yet again, it's great to meet other people whom you don't feel threatened by, or are not always challenging their core beliefs, and putting you on the back foot. But the importance of these fraternal visits is that they remind us that we are not alone. We are men with similar beliefs and ideals that gives us hope, and we can learn from each other on how to meet the challenges ahead. So that's more or less all I wanted to say. Thank you for the kind invitation to express real appreciation of having this opportunity to listen in on your debates. I was interested. You're a bit more robust in your debates than we have been lately. I must admit, I think that's great. I think your council here and our Supreme Council, which meet similar each once a year, you're not just there to make up numbers. You should be involved in decisions or accepting issues and taking ownership of issues, and you shouldn't just leave it to what we call the top table in Ireland. There probably is some similar diminutive or some pejorative phrase for it here, but so it's all, and you do that very well. And the other interesting thing is we're debating the same things. My own council in Kells put forward a motion a couple of years ago to change. We have much simpler constitutional laws than you. We had a definition of membership, and it said male, and we were just going to change it to female. Because I was scratching my head, what's this resolution intended to do? And then I was delighted with the little explanation at the end. But it similar got hammered. I think 5 votes or 6 votes for, and the rest against, for similar reasons, good reasons. The whole IAC, the Dacastry, membership, and concerns that it would change the nature of the order. But it's still, I think, a challenge that we have to face. Is there room, some way, to involve women? And it's still, my council is determined to go back again. I don't know about you, but you have to wait if you get voted down at the Supreme Council, you have to wait at least two years before you can ever go again, So the secret is actually slightly to change so that you can try to sneak in through the rooms. But we're both facing the same things, and I think myself and PJ I think could have immediate positive implications for us. Is we too have national projects which are decided at the Supreme Council. We haven't done them in the last couple of years. COVID is an excuse for everything. But anyway, I like the idea that you put it out to provinces to put forward ideas, and let them come up here and sell it, and then people vote on it. And it must give great ownership of these things, and it also gives an opportunity for provinces or councils that have projects of their own to develop them, then sell them to their own province, and then try to sell them to the order. So I think that it's an excellent idea. So thank you very much. I won't bore you any longer, and I'm looking forward to the rest of the debates. Thank you.
Brother John, thank you very much for those words, and you're absolutely right. I think I said over the years we're like a parallel organisation running the same lines. And talking about the same lines, brothers, can you please check your travel arrangements? I've just had a text from Brother Ron Lynch. There seems to be still lots of problems on the railway, so can you please check your travel arrangements and let us know what your situation is to make sure you go home safe tomorrow. So just check, make sure your trains or however you get home is on the same way. Brother Dominic, would you like to bring in our next lovely guest that was going to come and talk to us? Could you go and get Sister Roseanne for us, please? I will go and get her and bring her up. Dominic, just because you know her doesn't mean to say you have to show her no respect. Brother, please be upstanding and welcome Sister Roseanne Reddy.
Okay, well, I don't think anybody is introducing me, so I'll just introduce myself. For those of you who have the great fortune not to know me, I do not believe what the others who do know me have told you. It's a lie. My name is Sister Roseanne Reddy. I'm a sister of the Gospel of Life, based in Glasgow, in the south side of Glasgow. And some of you here know me very well, some of you know me too well actually, truth be told. But I was asked by Harry to come along and to give this talk. And I said, Harry, what do you want me to talk on? And he said, whatever you want. So here goes. My association with the Knights is a long and a very happy association, I have to say. I have had some very good times with the Knights of St Columba, and it started really well. The story of the Cardinal Winning Pro-Life Initiative, which is our pro-life work in the initiative that I run, started very precisely on the 9th of March 1997. And some of you will remember it. It was a long time ago now, but it made the papers all over the world actually. It was incredible. When the late, and I would say great, Cardinal Winning, those of you who knew him would know what a remarkable man he is. He's still very sorely missed. And Cardinal Winning stood up at a pro-life conference, at a SPUC conference in Glasgow, and it was Mother's Day. It was a Sunday. I worked for the Cardinal at that time in his pastoral office, but I wasn't working that day. And I suddenly was getting a lot of phone calls. You remember the phone that you used to have in your hallway? You remember before the days of mobile? If anybody can remember the days before mobile, those glorious days before mobile phones. And your phone used to ring in the hall, and you used to have to get an answer. And my phone kept going, and there was all these people phoning me, and they said, what's the Cardinal up to? And I was like, I have no idea. And then somebody phoned and said, switch your telly on, the Cardinal's on, and he's got Emma. Now, Emma was my little goddaughter, who'd been born the previous November. And when she was born, she was only 3 pounds. She was tiny. You could literally hold her in your hand. And this was the March, so she was only about 6 months old, but she was still tiny. And the first thing I knew about what went on to become the Cardinal Winning Pro-Life Initiative was watching Cardinal Winning. All of you who have had children will know what a snowsuit is. You know, one of the wee suits that are up to here and fur round, and you can only see the tiny bit of the child in there. And they were obviously trying to get the Cardinal to take this snowsuit off, and then for whatever reason, Emma's mum had put on her hat one of those hats that have become more popular these days. You know where the bauble on top is bigger than the child? The child's like this, it's all deformed because it's can't keep his head up. And they were obviously trying to get the Cardinal to take this hat off. He was pulling the hat off, but without undoing it. So he was killing the child live on national television. And I was like, what is he doing? And then obviously somebody told him to undo the thing, and Emma's little head was revealed, and then he announced this initiative. And he basically said, any woman thinking of having an abortion, don't do it, come to the church and we will help you. And he then gives a huge big list of things, you know, if pressure from the baby's father, if pressure from your parents, if pressure from your education, if pressure from poverty, if pressure from a previous abortion decision, whatever it is that's leading you to think about abortion, don't do it, we will help you, there is always an alternative. And I was sitting there going, well done, that's fantastic, what a man, fantastic. And then my phone kept ringing, as I say, so I was like, oh, I'm out of here. So I went out and I went to the pictures, the cinema. There is a reason for telling you this. And the funniest thing about that was to get into the cinema at that time, this will show you how long ago it was £3.70. Exactly, £3.70 in old money. And I, that evening, Cardinal Winning phoned me. Now, when you work for cardinals and bishops and people, they don't tend to phone you very often, and if they do, you're usually in trouble. But he phoned me and I answered the phone. And I used to call him boss, and I said, oh, hello boss, how are you? And he says, oh, I'm fine, how are you? And I said, well, I'm okay. I said, but you owe me £3.70. And in typical Scotsman fashion, he said, why do I owe you £3.70? I said, because I had to go to the pictures to get away from people phoning me to find out what you were up to. And when he died a few years later and they were asking me what my favourite story of him was, it was what he said next. Because with all the faith of a great man and with all the power of his office as a cardinal, he said, it'll be all right. And that was it. That was literally it. I went into the office the next day, and that's how the Cardinal Winning Pro-Life Initiative started. And from that day to this day, I've been in charge of it, and I have run the initiative. And when I was asking him what his thoughts were, he said, well, I wasn't really sure what I was thinking. And when he had said to me, oh, it'll be okay, I said, boss, have you any idea what you've just done? And he said, well, you're the very woman for the job. And I said, well, I better be. And that's how it started. I'm in the next day. And he said, what I want you to do is I want you to care for these women. Because if we care for the women, if we help the women, if we win the women over, we save their babies. And that's always what we're trying to do. Hello? Hello? Is that just... I think the microphone is died. It's just not died, it has died. I hope. Thank you. Oh, no? No. So I'm going to have to juggle now. Okay. No. Oh, yeah. Oops. So that's how the initiative started. And from that day to this, that is what we have done. So our job is to look after women who come to us for whatever reason, in any kind of difficulty because of pregnancy or because they have a young family. And as many of you will know because of the work you do in parishes and the work you do through the nights, there are many, many people in need out there. There are many people who need help, who just need a helping hand. The vast majority of women I have ever worked with do not want abortion. I've never really met a woman for whom this was something she wanted to do. I know we see them, you see the radical feminists saying, my body, my choice. You get people who do that, but the vast majority of people don't want to seek abortion. And people come to us because somebody's told them about us, maybe somebody else that we've helped, or maybe their mum or their auntie or their granny. God love the grannies. The grannies save more babies than anybody else, because they get grandchildren to come, they get the granddaughters to come and to speak to us. And if we can speak to a woman, if we can offer her that help, then the vast majority of them will choose to have their baby. And so when we speak to women, the first thing we do is we listen. So the first thing we do is we say, what is leading you to think that abortion is your only answer? And you'll not be surprised to hear that the vast majority of time, it's not about the women, it's other people. My dad will kill me. Well, we've never lost anybody to their dad yet. Dads do get raging, dads do get angry, but dads also love their daughters. And so we don't, we can usually assure them that that will not be the case. The one that is the real killer, the one that really affects people is when the baby's father doesn't want the baby. When they say to them, well, it's either me or the baby. I don't want to be a father, I'm too young, this is not what I wanted, we don't know each other well enough yet, I don't want this responsibility. And that's a very real, if you can get the baby's father to come round, then the women will come round as well. If they know that the baby's father supports them, then that makes a bigger difference to the hope that they will keep that baby. The other thing is if the girl's father is supportive. So if Grandad mans up and says, look, I know this is not what you planned, this is not how you wanted it to be, but I've gone again, I know it's not my fault, I'm not suffering anything, I don't think. I could have told you that. I'm not technically very brilliant, but I know a low battery when it's time to show. Okay, third time, lucky. If this goes off, I'm just going to dance and sing, because that's easier. Yeah, that would be hilarious, can you imagine it? Anyway, when we can find the support to give the women support, when we can challenge them, because the women know that they're having a baby. There's nobody who, if I said to you, here's a pregnant woman, here's a non-pregnant woman, spot the difference. The difference is one is having a baby. And everybody really knows that. And I got involved in the whole pro-life fight after John Paul II came to Scotland in 1982. And I got involved. And everybody really knows that. And it's one of the things for you to know how to challenge people on this whole issue, because it is important. Father said last night it's important that we have compassion, but it's also important that we speak to the truth. And the truth is, nowadays, all of us have, I left my phone up the back so that it wouldn't interfere, but all of us have in our hands a tool for really spreading the pro-life message, which is your mobile phone. So very seldom nowadays can anybody deny the humanity of the unborn child. I don't even try and prove it now. I say to people, and they say, well, it's not a baby. I say, well, tell me what it is. Because see if that woman's not having a baby, it's the daily record you need here, because that's a miracle. She's sitting on a fortune. She'd make a fortune if she's not having a baby and she's pregnant. That's a fortune right there. Of course she's having a baby. I am sure all of you in your phones, I have lots of them, have pictures that people have sent you of a scan of your new grandchild or the new baby in your family. I'm sure all of you have that. And this is a technology, this is a thing that we need to use. So the next time somebody's saying to you, I don't know why you knights are so pro-life, why you're so focused on abortion. Say, well, I'll tell you why. Because there's a picture of my 10-week-old nephew in the womb. And so that's why I'm concerned about abortion. Because anything that takes a human life from the moment of conception takes a human life from the moment of conception. And we have such double standards, again, modern technology, as you can tell, will kill me. But the number of times, if you get things on your phone, see things like, I'm sure some of your daughters and granddaughters and people will have had a baby shower. This thing that's come over from America. And then they'll have had your gender reveal. What are you revealing the gender of? You're not revealing the gender of a blob of jelly, or a lumpy tissue, or it's not a baby yet. You're revealing the gender of this boy or this girl who is in this woman's womb. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as the fact that all of us were once at that stage of development, and we are so afraid, I think, often that we try and justify our position, whereas we really need to get other people to justify their decision. I know why I am pro-life. And I am pro-life for a lot of reasons, the least of which is because I'm a Catholic, let me tell you. I am pro-life because of the scientific and medical fact of when life begins. And again, I think that's an important thing for us, because we get so dismissed simply because we're Catholics. You know, people say to me, oh, you Catholics. And I kind of go, well, you atheists, big wow. You know, we're back to square one. You know, and people do that thing of saying, I don't know why you still believe this, I don't know why you're still a Catholic. And I say, I don't know why you're not. You know, it's kind of, but we do get very sort of, you know, we have to prove our point, you know, whereas I think it's quite a good thing for us to say back to them, I don't understand why you're not pro-life. I understand why you're maybe not a person of faith or whatever, that's up to you. But to be not pro-life with the scientific and medical fact that you have at the tip of your fingers. When I go into schools and stuff these days, I always say to kids, right, who's got a phone? Take your phone out, they've all got phones. And I say, and that's primary school, and I say, right, put into Mr. Google development of the baby, put in, say 10 weeks, because that's the time when most abortions are performed in this country. I say, put in 10 weeks. And they come up, and of course a 10-week picture of a baby in the womb is phenomenal these days. It's actually phenomenal. You can see the baby quite clearly. And then I would say, and do you know what's really amazing about that picture is, see when you were 10 weeks old inside your mother's womb, that's what you looked like. I look at that picture and I think, that is hard to believe. My mother was less than 5 feet tall. Hard to believe that she once carried a lump like me. But she did, because I didn't always look like this, the fine figure you see before you now. You know, when I was 10 weeks old inside my mother's womb, that's how I looked. That's how everybody looked at that stage. And that's why this is an issue that's so important. And what we find is that most women know that. And most women want to have their baby. And what they say to us is at the end of talking to them, I say, okay, if all these other problems could be solved, what do you want to do? And they say, well, I want to have my baby, but how can I? And then that's when we say, okay, well, let's see if we can take away some of these other pressures, if we can take away some of these other problems, and if we can help you to have this baby in a healthy and in a wholesome environment. Because also a lot of what we are trying to do is we're trying to stop history repeating itself constantly. You know, and people making bad choices that then lead them to teach their children how to make bad choices. Whereas if we can teach them how to make good choices, then we can help them to help their children make better choices. And so it's a work of a long time. It's not a quick thing. It's never a quick fix. But it does work. If people will stand up, if people will see, you know, again, it's one of the things, I always say this, especially when I talk to groups of men, it's one of the things that's the biggest cop-out in the history of the known universe, when a woman is pregnant and not sure what to do, and the man says, because he thinks this is what he has to say, he says, whatever you decide to do, I'll stand by you. That is the biggest cop-out in the history of the world, because all that says is, it's your problem. It's your problem. You have to decide what you want to do. Whereas if more men, including granddads influencing their sons and fathers influencing their sons, would say, what you need to do is you need to stand up and say, I want you to have our baby. I want you to have this baby, and I will be there to help you every step of the way. And that simple thing of saying that will save more lives than you will ever know. That thing of saying, this is not what me and your mother wanted for you, but we will be there for you. This little baby will be welcomed into our family. All of that kind of stuff makes a huge difference. And it's the same, you know, when people say to me, so we've been running the initiative now, and I've been running it for 27 years or something, people say to me, what do you think, you know, what's the most important thing, what do you think really works? And I say, and I've learned this lesson, it's the simple things. It's the simple things of saying, I will be there for you. When I was younger and getting involved in the pro-life movement, one of the things that used to really drive me mad would be when people used to say, we need to have abortion for these poor women. We need to have abortion for these poor women. They're living in poverty. They're living in bad housing. They're living with people who abuse them and who are cruel to them. And so we need to have abortion for these women. And I used to think to myself, and I used to say, I tell you what, I don't want to be too radical here, but why don't we get rid of the bully? Why don't we get rid of the bad housing? Why don't we get rid of the poverty instead of getting rid of the baby and pretending we've helped the mum? Because all she does is go back to the poverty. All she does is go back to the violence. All she does is go back to the bad housing. And we walk away smugly thinking we've helped her. And we haven't helped her in one little bit. And as many of you will know, some of the other work that we do, especially Sister Andrea, who a lot of you will know, is work through Rachel's Vineyard, which is the healing process after abortion. If you really think about it, if you really think about what abortion has done to our society, it's beyond frightening. Now, many of you here will be people who have lost children through miscarriage and through stillbirth. And you know that there is no greater loss in life than to lose your child. None. There's just none. And yet, if you can imagine what that does to the heart of a woman, to not only have lost her baby, because she knows it's her baby, not only to have lost her baby, but to have taken her baby's life, it's frightening. It's absolutely frightening, the effect that's having, not just on the women, but on their families, on relationships. It's a scary, scary place to be with people who have suffered because of an abortion experience. And again, many of you will have heard me say this, and again, it's the challenge to you. There are two things I think that if you take nothing else away from this talk, there are two things you should think about. One is, what would I do if somebody came to me and said, I'm pregnant and I really don't know what to do? And you need to think about that now. You need to think about what your response would be. And your first response has to be, tell me how I can help you to have this baby. What can I do for you? What help do you need? And how do you feel about having this baby? Because that's a question women are very seldom asked. They're often asked, what do you want to do about this baby? So when the doctor finds out, tells them they're pregnant, that's often the first question they get. Is it already a problem? What do you want to do about this baby? So when you say, what can we do? What can I do to help you? Honestly, you have no idea, but you can imagine the profound effect that has. And the second thing you need to ask yourself is, what would I do if somebody came to me and said, I know you'll hate me for this, or I know you don't agree with me or whatever, but 5 years ago I had an abortion. And the most important thing you have to say is, I am so sorry you lost your baby. That must have been awful for you. Is there anything I can do to help you? And certainly when I started out in the pro-life movement, I would have done anything other than say the word baby to somebody who just admitted to having an abortion, because I wouldn't have wanted to upset them. But women want you to recognise both the life of their child and the death of their child, because that's the only way you ever get over or come to live with an abortion experience. It's when you can say, I know I took my baby's life and I'm truly sorry for that, and now I'm seeking help. Now I'm seeking the Lord's forgiveness usually, or your forgiveness, or whatever, the baby's forgiveness. So you need to be certain and sure, if you're in either of those positions, that you know what to say. And then if you don't know what to say after that, you can say, and I know the very woman to help you, and you can phone me and I'll take it from there. But that makes such a vast difference. And the other thing I want to say is, about the nights, again, I'm always amazed at the kindness and the generosity and the love that you Knights have for the pro-life cause, for those women that you'll never meet, those babies you'll never see, those fathers you'll never know you've helped, those families that you'll never, they'll never say to you, thank you so much for that pram, thank you so much for that. But they say it to me all the time. And I got involved with the Knights. I don't know who was here, some of you must have been here, I think. At the very, very beginning, when Cardinal Winning made the announcement, now I can't remember what year it was maybe 98 or 99 or 2000 or something. But I was asked to speak at this very point in the programme for the Knights of St Columba. They were having their big meeting in Glasgow. And I went along, and I had a ball. It was a fantastic weekend, and we had a ball. And I spoke, and I remember saying to them, afterwards, there was quite a lot of the Knights would come up and say, sister, if there's anything I can do to help. And I said, right, well, here's the thing. I'm quite a straight-talking woman, so don't mess with me. I said, if you're saying to me you want to help, and if you give me your number, I'll use it. Okay? So as long as we're clear about that. I don't want any of your flannel, I don't want any of your fluff. I've had enough of that for men in my life, but that's another story. I said, but if you're saying to me you want to help, if I can use you, I will. And there's many of you nodding around this room because you know you've had that phone call. And from that very first weekend, the Knights have been unbelievable to us, and they do unbelievable things. And what I want to say to you is, what I've learned about the work that we do, I hope you know about the work that you do. Because I'm sure sometimes you must think, you must do, I don't know how much good we are doing here, I don't know, we seem to, a lot of talking, no so much action, a lot of this, that, you go here and there and everywhere and nobody really appreciates what you do, whatever. But I'm telling you now, see the quiet, unseen work that you do day in and day out, it makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference to us. It makes a huge difference to me that I know in the back there, in the background somewhere, I know if I have something I need, I know I literally have a knight in shining armour who will come to my rescue. Which reminds me of my mother, God rest her, who died when I was very young, but my mother used to say to me, see when you're waiting for this knight in a white charger, remember when you get the knight in the white charger, you get a lot of horse shit as well. Which is a classic line that my mother would have said, but actually, my knights in shining armour don't come with the horse shit provided. My knights come to the good, and my knights do the job that they say they're going to do. And I just really want you to know that that's appreciated. When I was trying to think of what I really wanted to say today, because I thought, a lot of you know what we do and you know who we are, but a lot of people don't, so that's why I wanted to give you that little introduction to what we do. But the real thing was to look at the thing of, the three things that the Knights are for charity, fraternity, and unity. Is that right? That would have been a bit of a bummer if I got that wrong. But charity for me is exactly what it says in the tin. Charity is love. And what I love about the Knights is not just your love for God, which is obvious, and your love for the church, which is so important. Because again, why would you be a Catholic in this day and age if you didn't believe? It's like, oh my goodness, we all know it, we all get it, you get that thing of, I get it all the time, there's people that kind of say, oh yeah, I was born and brought up a Catholic and I thought about it and I gave up. And I was like, I was born and brought up a Catholic, I thought about it and I become a religious sister. So how come my thinking's wrong and your thinking's right? Actually, I think your thinking's wrong. Because actually the church is a phenomenal family, it's a phenomenal institution for all its faults and failings, and we all know the faults and failings, but actually it is a remarkable institution to be part of. And we are part of it not for the thrill that it gives us to go to our freezing cold churches of a morning, the thrill that it gives us, if we can even hear them, to hear generally quite rubbish homilies. No offence, fathers, I know all the priests here are excellent homilists, but you know, and then to just get the usual moans for everybody, and you know, it's not an entertaining place to be, it's really not. I can think of better places to go. But it's because we love the church, and it's because you love the church, and that's really important. So I know you love God, and that of course is the most important. And you love the church that God gave us. You love the church that Jesus Christ founded. You know, for me sometimes, when I'm having a bit of a rough day, of you go to Mass and then you come out going, oh, that was great. Oof, can't wait to go back there. And I come out and I'm like that, and I think to myself, but you know what? This is the church that Jesus Christ founded. While he walked this earth, a man like you, a human like me, he founded it while he walked this earth, and he left us not alone, but with his own self present in every tabernacle, in every church in the world. See if you say that slowly and think about it. It is phenomenal. It's absolutely amazing. And so the fact that you love God, the fact that you love the church, and the fact that your charity then extends out to other people, it's no small thing. Yeah, I don't think you realise that. I don't think you realise what an incredible witness you are in the world. Even when everybody's moaning at you, even when you feel you can't do anything wrong, the very fact that you are still there, your presence in this church and in the places where you are, makes a huge difference. So that's where your charity comes into. Your fraternity, the fact that you want to take that out there and you want to share that with others, is again something I hope you never lose. You know, my vocation in life has been to spread the gospel of life. And if that doesn't make you beam with joy, the fact that we have come that you may have life and life in abundance. John 10:10, that's the motto that we have for our community and for our work. So it's not just about saving life and preserving life, it's about bringing life to full abundance. And where do you find the full abundance of life in this world? Is in the life that God gave you to be. So the fact that you are a Knight of St Columba is not an accident. It's part of your vocation as Catholic men. And I hope you don't ever forget that. So you have charity, fraternity, and unity. And unity is one of the hardest ones. You know, in religious life, you have poverty, chastity, and obedience. And everybody thinks that poverty and chastity are the hard ones, but it's the obedience, which is the unity. It's that obedience, to be obedient to what you are called to do every single day, to pick your cross up again and do that. And so for you, the fact that you come together, the fact that you are a unifying force in so many places, the fact that you work together, you know, so when you do things in parishes, when you do things for us, the Knights never come on their own. There's always two or three of them, there's always 2 or 3 carloads doing things for us. And that's an amazing thing. That's an amazing thing, and again, I hope you don't ever forget it. I hope you don't ever forget that people really need this witness. We really need to see. One of the famous, we are the Sisters of the Gospel of Life, and we're named after an encyclical that now St. John Paul II wrote in 1995 called The Gospel of Life. And one of the first things, as you know, that Pope John Paul II said when he was elected Pope, his first statement to the world was, "Be not afraid." Be not afraid. 3 very simple words that I think are so important for you and for I, because it's easy to be browbeaten in this world. It's easy for people to go, "No, the Knights, you know, or the sisters, or the church." You're like, "Oh, what?" You know, when people are always doing that thing, You know how people like to tell you what to do? I don't know if you get that. I get that all the time. And I get people who literally, I don't know, they stand there in front of me and go, "Sister, do you know what I was just thinking?" And I go, "Oh, we're in for it now." I said, "No, startle me with your intellect and wit and tell me what you've just been thinking." And then they come out with a whole big list of things that I could be doing. So I listen very nicely. I smile very sweetly. It's got a scary smell, but I smell very sweetly. And I say, "So what should I be doing?" And they tell me. And then I go, "Okay, can I ask you a question now?" And they go, yeah. And I say, "What will you be doing when I'm doing all that work?" And it's amazing. So see when you hear people saying, "Oh, you knights say, oh, what's knights what? What have you got to say about us?" And see when you're saying all that about us, what are you doing to fulfill the vocation that God gave you? So don't be afraid to be proud to be a knight. Don't be afraid to be proud to be pro-life. Because actually, it's kind of winning ticket. That's your dream treble there. Your dream treble? No, that's your dream treble. Right there. You know, do not be afraid to love God, to love the church, and to love the knights, and to love the pro-life. I know it's a quadruple treble now, but well, that's true. We did that as well. But do you know what I mean? Do not be afraid to, and do not be undermined, and do not be kind of bowed down by what other people think about you. Always go back to the heart of what you believe, and because what you believe is a good and a true and a beautiful thing. I'm just going to finish with something I often say when I give talks, and many of you will have heard it before. The thing that inspires me in everything I do in my life comes from the old penny catechism. Now I'm looking out at you lot, and I know for a fact that you all know what the old penny catechism is, because I'm thinking some of you wrote it. But you know, I was the last generation, I think, at school to get taught the old penny catechism. And if I say to you, who made you?
God made.
Sorry, who made you?
God made.
And why did God make you? God made you to know, love and serve him in this world and be forever happy with him in the next. Now, that's a life well lived. To know who made you? God made you. Who made every single human being on this planet? God. Who made every unborn child on this planet? God. Who formed you in the womb? God. God thought of you from all eternity, and he created you to be here in 2023. And he created you for a purpose, and that purpose is to know him, which you do through getting involved in the church and through your life, to love, and where you love him most is in the work that you do here, and to serve him, and that you certainly do. And I can think of no greater pro-life message to have than to every day say to yourself, who made me? God made me. Why did he make me? To know, love and serve him in this world, and as if that's not good enough, to be forever happy with him in paradise, or in eternal life. Sorry, I saw Des there in paradise keeping my mind. But think about that there is no greater pro-life message I can give. So thank you so much for having me here. I love the next. I have got somewhere my Columba cross on. I am very honoured. It is the only bit of bling, and other than just wearing it about the convent to annoy the other two, I don't get to wear it too often, so I thought I'd put it on this afternoon. This is the Columba cross, which I am very, very proud to wear. Charlie McCluskey nominated me for it and gave it to me, and the one and only time I think I've ever been speechless because I didn't know it was happening, and I was so honoured to receive it, and I wear it with great pride, and I'm so pleased to have been here, and thank you so much.
I'm so glad I'm not following that after the speech. Sister Roseanne, what can we say about you? For what you have said about us, we are truly grateful. We're truly grateful that you are in the position that you are in and what you do for these young ladies that are requiring the help. And you definitely know that we are always here for you. So once again, Sister Roseanne Reddy, thank you very much. Brothers, that's 2 inspiring speeches. 3 we've had today. Wonderful. I'm just going to carry on a wee bit longer and we're going to ask Brother Sean Smith to come up and do his media report. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Brother Supreme Knight, the honour of following Sister Roseanne. As if things weren't tough enough. Good afternoon, Brother Supreme Knight, my Lord Bishop, worthy esteemed guests, brothers. The media report. So, as you've seen, technology has failed us all day today, which is a good start. We've lost microphones, we've lost screens this morning, but still, we'll carry on. So I'm going to talk about 6 subjects to do with media. The national website, Columba magazine, the nice news, social media, the collaborations we've had, and the @ksc.org.uk email system. So let's start with the national website. This will be a short presentation introducing the topics we cover in the media department. It is my vision for going forward, and yes, I am wearing glasses, so my vision's impaired. The national website. This is our chance to look out on the world. So as of next year, I'm proposing that there's a monitoring team for the website. It's been made up of 6 brothers to join the media team. They review the entire website on a 3-monthly basis. We meet on the Zoom to discuss any necessary changes. Anything that needs to be done immediately can be done immediately. The Supreme Knight's page. We're going to open that up to the Supreme Knight himself, so he can change it and update it when he wants to. And the administrator, who's not here, unfortunately, others will introduce him to you. We need the website to remain a one administrator and not have loads of people trying to change it all at the same time, because it creates conflicts and then creates problems. So apart from the Supreme Knight's page, everything else will be controlled by one administrator. So requests are sent to the Supreme Director for Media, and then they're forwarded to the administrator, and then changes are made to the website. There you can see how it happens. Brothers and councils, provinces, even the board of directors. They send the request to me, or the Supreme Director for Media, he sends it to the administrator and it goes up on the website. And then the response goes back to the originator to say that it's happened. Our website is our window to the outside world. It's like letting strangers stare into your front room in your home. It's our showcase to what we are, what we do, and how we do it. Columba magazine. This is our chance to tell the world what it is that we do. It's now down to 2 publications a year. There's one in June, and there's one coming up now in December. It has specific deadlines for submissions from the councils and provinces. So the next edition is due out in the first week of December. The closing date for submissions are the 1st of November every year. Why does it take so long? All articles have to be edited. We then have to set them into the magazine. It has to be sent for proofreading. Then we send it to the printers. They send us back with proofs of how it's going to look. Once that's agreed, we'd go for the final 3 Ps, which are printing, package, and postage. And that can take some time. So that's why it takes a month for us to get Columba magazine out. Nice news. Showcasing to other councils and provinces what is possible. This used to be e-Columba. This year it changed and became Nice News. Why did it change? we weren't given enough articles from councils and provinces to be able to carry on doing e-Columba. So now what we do is we showcase what each department of the order is doing. That comes out every 2 months. Publishes any upcoming events, but in order for us to be able to publish them, they have to be sent to us. You need to submit it before the event so that we can get it out and let everybody know that you've got an event coming up. The next edition is due out in November. How do you get it? It's sent by email to all provinces and councils, and it's sent to external people and brothers who have registered on the website. Social media. Tell the world what we're doing on a wider scale. Big change in social media this year. All Facebook pages will now be made open to the public, no longer closed. Currently, only the KSE main page is to be open to the public. That's changed this year. What does this mean? It means you can all turn your pages out to the public. So if you've got a provincial page or a council page, it can now go public so anyone in the world can read your page. It's not just within the group of friends that you've got. It means anyone anywhere in the world can see it. It also means that anyone anywhere in the world can post to your page or comment on your page. Because of that, before you open it up, you have to adhere to the guidelines. It must have the official trademark logo. That is available on the website. All pages must have the following as admins: the Supreme Knight, the immediate past Supreme Knight, and the Supreme Director for Media. Those three gentlemen, it's their responsibility to make sure that your posts or any comments that are adverse or contain any swear words are deleted. That'll be their job to do going forward. Most of that will probably fall to the Supreme Director for Media. Collaborations. This year we set out to make friends with other Catholic organisations. So far this year, we have the Universe Catholic Weekly publication. If you've been checking the website, you will have seen that that is now appearing on our website with a link to the latest edition every week. They're sending it to us, we're sending it back to them. We're sending ours out to them, they're advertising us in the magazine. The Catholic Union of Great Britain are also advertising us, and we're going to be advertising them. There are more to come next year because we've already started and sent out information, and people are starting to get back to us. The big one. You got mail. Every officer will now have an @kse.org.uk email address. That means 1,380 email addresses and passwords will be created, one for every officer and every council. Now, if they're not all needed, they have to be returned so that we can monitor which councils are using what email addresses. If there's any problems, anyone can contact me or my successor to get problems sorted out. The email addresses and passwords will be sent out because we're going to be putting probably a pack together with a few other bits and pieces inside the envelopes as well. There's an easy to follow guide that's already up on the website. And it's underneath, if you go to the members area, there's a new page called Media, and the guide's underneath there on how to do it. And then next up will be all the provincial officers. PGKs all have a current KSE email address. If you're a new PGK and you haven't got it, you need to contact me and I'll get it sorted out for you. Please don't do it over this weekend. Out of all Supreme Director roles, this role's the busiest. The others will argue, but they can't.
I most certainly will argue with you, Sean.
Well, the Supreme Knight, it says Supreme Director roles, not the Supreme Knight's role. Not only do we deal with what we have just spoken about, but so many more things. The head office bulletin, the Supreme Council papers you've got on your desks, bespoke graphics, Zoom meetings, form update and assistant head office. A big thank you to Martin Hargreaves, editor of Columba magazine. Paddy Boyle, editor of Nice News. Brother Michael Gallagher, Brother Ray Harden, who are proofreaders. The Worthy Media Pastor Supreme Knight, who helps out with proofreading and a lot of other things as well, and guidance. Of course, the Worthy Supreme Knight, without whose guidance we couldn't do the role. The board of directors for all the help and information they give us. Our dedicated head office staff, we couldn't do our jobs without you. And two more people I want to thank. Brother George Johnson, who helped me out loads this year with the social media campaign for the National Relic Tour. We've worked so well together. Thank you, Brother George, for your help and assistance. And finally, to Brother Frank Stanley, who is the administrator of the website, who can't be here. That is my report and move for its adoption.
Thank you very much. The short report is open for debate, brothers. Sorry, Brother Sally.
Well, it's been right, my Lord Bishop, brothers. Just a question to Brother Sean. On the Facebook page going public, I know you've got administrators and such like on it, but is there not a way to restrict who can post and when they can post, and can restrict what posts are actually allowed to go through, rather than us being in there? Because even though you are the most busiest director in the order by your own admission, I'm sure the Supreme Knight and the immediate past Supreme Knight are pretty busy as well. And by the way, just as an aside, brothers, I was told by Brother Tony Britton in Glasgow in 2017, see, when you sit down here, you get nothing to do and you'll be sitting just and going to sleep. Nothing could be further from the truth.
Thank you, Brother Charlie. Anybody else? Brother John McDonald?
Brother Supreme Knight, John O'Donnell, Past Provincial Grand Knight, Province 1. One question I've been asked to ask Brother Sean. On Facebook, what security will be in place to stop abuse being continuous? Would it not be better to stop all public comments? Secondly, we would notify if whatever we are putting out on our pages, we would notify opposing organisations of our plans and events. Is this a good idea? One of the reasons for that is we've got the torchlight procession, and I would imagine if stuff like that, if it falls into the wrong hands, it brings us problems. Well, the Supreme Knight.
Anybody else, Brother Sean, do you want to answer? Can I just say that when we changed the national Facebook page, we suddenly went up to, I think it's nearly 3,000. Sean will tell us how many people like us and follow us now. How many times have we actually said in here, when we go on our Facebook page, we're only talking to ourselves. We're all converted. The Sister Roseanne said earlier, we're all here. Most of us know the things that we do. And again, like that, you have to open the door and let people in as well. And be prepared to have people that are coming in and putting posts on, and that's why we have the security that we have on it and your administrators. But Sean will answer that. But Sean, what was the figures the first week that we had? We went live, I suppose. I think there was something like 8,000 hits on it. You know, I think I'm right with that, Sean, yeah?
The National Relic Tour.
Yeah. Yeah, we put the National Relic Tour on Facebook. Again, I'll talk about that shortly, but that had some amount of hits, Sean.
10,800. We currently have over 2,200 people liking our page, and it goes up all the time. In fact, I'm getting notifications every day to say that more people are liking us. To the questions, were the Pastor Supreme Knight, Brother Charlie, can we restrict what posts can go through? Yes, we can. we can set it up in the settings and teach people how to set it up in the settings so that certain things can't be done. With regards, Brother John O'Donnell, what security will be for public comments. We can't restrict public comments because it wouldn't then be proper. But what we can do is we can stop people swearing. You can stop people from using offensive language on there. There's settings set in Facebook to sort that out for you automatically without you having to do anything. We can show people how to do that. With regards to putting posts up that counter organisations might get hold of, they're putting stuff out that we can get hold of. It's a quid pro quo system of Facebook, and it's a public system. So therefore, why should we hide what it is that we're trying to do? We shouldn't hide behind what we're trying to do. Thank you, Will Supreme Knight.
Brothers, can we adopt Brother Sean's report? Thank you very much, brothers. Brother Sean, that's adopted. Brothers, can we have nominations for the Director for Media? Sorry? George Johnson. Can I have a seconder? Andrew Burns. Any more nominations? On the seconders, obviously that's so we now have a voting situation then, brothers. So we have a nomination for George Johnson for the Director, and we also have the nominations for Brother Sean Smith. Charlie.
Supreme Knight, I'm just thinking on your agenda there, you're heading towards a tea break.
Yeah.
Maybe take the vote and we can come back with the result after the tea break.
Okay.
But can you give us an extra 10 minutes in the tea break while the Supreme Knight, because we will all get a chance to get a cup of tea. Awesome fresh air.
So see these past Supreme Knights, I've stole 15 minutes here trying to get a wee bit extra, and now they're stealing the back. Brother Tony.
If you get your cards and just write one name on it, like before.
Hang on. Sorry,
You're
brothers.
going to have to speak for 3
Yes,
minutes
brothers.
before you do.
Okay. Brothers, you're right, George. We have to have, see, even past Supreme Knights forget as well, so we have to allow the brothers 3 minutes to speak. So we'll go for a tea break now, and that means you can come back at 10 past, Charlie, or quarter past. Come back for quarter past, and then we'll get the brothers to do their 3 minute speaks. Thank you.